Welcome to another wonderful night of Chewin the BBQ Fat. It's Monday night, my favorite night, because I get to talk barbecue with all of y'all. You know, we had a great conversation last week about pork and ribs. The conversation is going to continue tonight with chicken and brisket. And I just want you to know, guys, we have the best teams back on. Not only do we have Smoke Me Silly and Rooters and Tooters, as Ellen has said, she wants everybody to know that they have gotten 3 180s in the past 5 contests they've cooked in chicken. So, I mean, if there is not anything better to do to talk about chicken than that, I mean, come on, this is what it's all about. So, Matt and Sarah from Boomerang will be coming on shortly. Lincoln, good to see you. And but guys, I'm excited. Like the page, share the page. And we're going to get rolling. I do have something that I'm going to talk about when we get to about 5 minutes in, just so I can make sure everybody's in. But guys, here we go. Got them here. Look at there. How are y'all doing? Our wonderful date night, or whatever we're calling this.
Date night.
I think that's what y'all wanted to call it last week. Oh, look at that. How sweet.
That's disgusting. This is a family show.
Oh man. Hank King, good to see you, bud. Thanks for coming on. All right, like I said, what I want to do, y'all go ahead and share the page, like the page. We're going to be talking chicken and brisket. Real quick recap. Paul, real quick recap. What did you talk about on ribs last weekend that has made somebody else go out there and win ribs, the rib category at their next contest?
I don't know. I want to repeat it. They need to go back and watch that show.
On YouTube.
That's right, on YouTube.
All right. Robert, I agree 100% with what Paul just said. Give me one quick tip about pork. That we talked last week.
Oh, there's quite a few people come up and said I was full of crap. Does that count?
I was one of them. That was me.
Oh, that was her. She said that to me a few times. You know, there was somebody that came up to me and said they watched the show, and the one thing they got from it was for ribs and pork, where we said that last 15 minutes will make you or break you. So yeah, he definitely pointed that out. So I guess that would be the tip.
There you go. And we didn't tell what to do on that. How do I get this off? This is driving me crazy. There we go. Sorry. All right. I want to make sure y'all are bigger and bolder and for people to see you, because we're about to get into some of the toughest categories, I would say, in barbecue. Everybody I talk to says brisket is very tough to figure out. I have a guy in my small group that we had tonight, and I told him we were talking brisket. He's like, man, I got to tune in because brisket is killing me. I can't figure out how to cook a brisket. And I said, well, look, we got some of the best guys in the world talking brisket tonight. And then if you want to know how to cook chicken, my goodness, if you don't watch tonight's chicken episode with Paul and Lynn, you're missing out. I mean, just incredible cooks from here. But anyway, and I know, like I say, I don't know if anybody saw. Oh, yeah, here we go. There they come. What's going on all over the place? But I'm curious, once they come on, they're about to come on. I see them popping in right now. I'm curious to see what Matt and Sarah have to say about their comment card on chicken that they had this week. In Oklahoma, Shawnee, I think, is where they were. Something like that, the double. So very good. All right, I see them getting set up. Matt, I see you on there. We'll get you set up with y'all ready to go. But real quick recap, you two both cooked at in Gadsden, right? Can you give us a quick update on how Gadsden was?
It was pretty darn good.
It was.
Of course it was.
Best we've ever had. It took 10 years. It was
10
our
years for
10-year
what?
anniversary of Gadsden, our very first contest ever.
Oh, was it really?
Yep.
Yeah.
As Big Boy Barbecue.
Huh.
Well, happy
Man,
anniversary.
Yeah.
You got a grant. And that grand propelled y'all, and because I love talking team of the year points. It's been a lot of fun hearing about it, but y'all jumped up 3 or 4 spots this weekend, didn't you?
Yeah, we're third right now.
Man, look at there. And
For
where y'all
about
cooking
10
this?
minutes this morning, we were second. And
Yeah.
I screen captured that because it may not happen again.
You sound like me.
Where are y'all cooking this weekend?
Say again, Brian, sorry.
Where are you cooking this weekend?
Savannah, Tennessee.
Savannah, Tennessee. Right. Now, Robert and Lex, are y'all cooking Savannah, Tennessee?
Nope.
Are y'all cooking this weekend?
No.
Nope.
Oh,
We're not chasing points this year.
Yeah, we're
I
just.
hear you.
We're just hanging out.
Yeah.
Y'all just trying to do it. Okay, I'm going to bring on Matt and Sarah. Looks like they're ready. Awesome. Looking fly as usual. What's up, Walker family? How are y'all doing?
Good.
Good. Can you hear us?
Can you hear us? Yes,
Gotcha.
can you hear us?
Yeah. Awesome. Welcome to the show. Real quick, I want to give River Dog, Etowah
Thank you.
Smoke in the house. Hello and YouTube. Thank you for watching from YouTube. What I'm going to do tonight, if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Atlanta Barbecue Store's YouTube channel tonight, I have a goal of trying to get past Robert, who is the YouTube sensation.
Yeah,
trying to
right.
get more subscribers than him tonight. So if you will like the Atlanta Barbecue Store page, YouTube, and subscribe, I'm going to give out a $25 gift card to Atlanta Barbecue Store. Ellen told me I could do free shipping. I'm going to go one a little bit bigger and give out $25. So
If
like,
you go
okay,
on and like both, we'll give you well, if you keep us
we'll
from
give you free
giving,
shipping also. I'll throw in free shipping. So if you like Atlanta Barbecue Store page and Silly Barbecue Life, whatever.
If we
but anyway.
unsubscribe and subscribe again, do we have a chance?
Anyway, all right, Matt and Sarah, we are going to be talking brisket and chicken tonight. We've already heard about Gadsden, Alabama. Can y'all give us a quick recap of the double in, was it Shawnee, Oklahoma? Something like that?
Can you hear him?
Can't hear me. Oh, Lord, they lost me. They know we're talking to them. Well, we'll get into that in a second. So I got first like, can you hear me now, Matt?
Yep.
Nope. I don't think. Guess not. All right. So let's talk chicken. Y'all want chicken or brisket first?
Whatever's on the agenda.
Okay. So going about the agenda. The agenda is chicken. So we're going to talk. What's up, Smiley? How you doing, man? Thanks for joining in. We're going to talk chicken. And chicken is all over the board. Do you scrape skins? Do you not scrape skins? Do you cook legs? Do you cook thighs? Do you brine? Do you inject? Do you do both? What are we doing on chicken? So I feel like there's a, that's right, Chris. I feel like there's a ton to talk about on chicken. So Paul and Lynn, I'm going to ask you because Ellen she's going to come on here. Well, there's a lot of people still upstairs at our house, but she's going to ask, what do y'all do on chicken? Now, you don't have to give out all the answers because I can already see Lex kicking y'all from across the state or whatever. But let's see if we can bring them back on. All right. Can y'all hear us now?
Yes.
Good. All right. So we're talking chicken.
Okay.
Lynn, you're off the hook.
All right. Good. Good to
I
have you,
noticed
Matt.
y'all got I'm sorry, Matt and Sarah. I'm just going to go right into it because we're kind of going.
All right.
What did y'all get a crazy comment card this weekend about chicken?
We thought we did, yeah. Too smoky. I don't think it was too smoky at all. That's maybe undersmoked would be the word. And but I mean, you get comment cards, and it's obviously an opinion of a single judge. So we didn't have a great weekend in the judging tent. I thought we had two massive cooks. I had I pulled out some really good meats for this competition because Royal Weekend, and I just thought that really nailed it Sunday especially, and so that might have been a mad post.
It happens. I mean, it happens.
It probably, if it could have been a lot worse, and if there was a mic in the RV on the way home, we probably would be kicked out of the KCBS right now. So that was actually a very mild reaction to what we thought were good cooks.
Gotcha. So just curious, I know there was a lot of talk about pellet grills, and this is what I'm going to ask everybody. Pellet grills, cans, stick burners. What did y'all cook your chicken on this weekend?
A pellet.
Okay, so you're on the Yoda.
Right, and just like the class, we sauced on the can, but I mean, you're talking 5-6 minutes.
6 minutes, yeah.
So, but we just had we've had responses of, oh, you're not cooking on the same pit, and I'm like, hey, if you look at the anyway, it's just that's not the.
It's all good. What I want to talk about tonight. I want us to make sure that we are helping people learn and everything else. So
right.
So you're cooking. I think to me, this is what I love about this show and what I love about barbecue. You're cooking on a pellet grill. Paul and Lynn, Rooters Tooters, is cooking on a water cooker, Southern Q water cooker. And Robert and Lex is cooking on a WSM, correct?
Yep.
All three, and I'm cooking on whatever. Nobody cares about me, but I cook on a pellet grill. So all three of y'all are cooking on different products, and you're all amazing chicken cooks. So what is it that you're looking for in chicken what is that flavor profile that you're looking for in chicken? Because each one of y'all are cooking on different cookers, and you're all excelling at it. So how does that work? Look at all the comments. How does that work, and what are we going to do with it? Robert, since you're cooking on a WSM, and you're using a lot of different wood chunks, I would say, to get your smoke, how does that affect your smokiness? We're going to start with smokiness because that was just the topic of conversation. What do you think you're looking for when it comes to smoke?
Well, I don't put that much on as far as wood. I actually use wood chips, and I only use maybe a handful, if that, when I put the chicken on, when we flip it, and then when we sauce. In fact, a couple weeks ago, I was a little heavy-handed. Probably put 3 handfuls on, and it was really. That
was in Augusta. No, yeah, that was in Augusta.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was very smoked. Well, did you tried that chicken, right, Brian? That was very.
Yeah, that you got the 180 with.
Yeah,
yes, we did.
We were shocked, so we tried it again in Savannah, Georgia,
and it didn't work.
Man, I remember tasting that. I was like, that's very smoky. Matt, do you remember? I called you. We talked that week. I was like, man, Robert's chicken was really smoky, and he got a 180. And and I thought it was interesting. Now, Paul and Lynn, you're cooking on a water. Say that again, Sarah.
Don't do that in Shawnee, Oklahoma. You'll get
Yeah.
Or Savannah,
Georgia. So that's what we're going to get to in a second. That's what y'all are just now talking about is what I want to get to in a second. But Paul and Lynn, you cook on a water cooker with a lot of steam in the smoker and everything else. So. And how is the smoke flavor getting into your process in a water cooker?
Yeah, for us, we're just finishing it with smoke. So I don't really cook it with too much smoke. I'm pretty similar to Matt there. I'm just going to finish it with smoke. You're just going to kiss the outside of it and let that sauce soak it in just for a minute, and then you're done.
That's awesome. I feel like Ellen needs to be down here. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm looking at here. I'm like, man, where's my wife? So Matt and Sarah, what is your thoughts on chicken? What is your thoughts on how do you? Obviously, you're going with the can to get your smoke. Does pellet grills not get enough smoke to it throughout the process?
Pretty mild.
Right. Well, it's a wrapping process, so yeah, there's not a bunch of smoke on it, but chicken takes in so much smoke, so if you just leave it on the pit, your skin's not going to be bite through, and there's definitely a process there to get the skin right, and then you have to turn around and put some smoke on it. I haven't figured out a better way to do it than the wrap, so we'll stick with that.
Good. I like that. We're not going to get into the wrap because that's, we want some secrets here still on Chewin the BBQ Fat. But you brought up skins and not being able to get bite through skins. I don't know if I can ask this or not. If y'all don't want to answer it, don't answer it, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What do y'all cook? Robert, I'll start with you. Do you cook chicken or thighs? And I'm going to ask all three of y'all that. Do you cook chicken or thighs? I mean, legs or thighs?
Chicken.
It's my first time doing the show. Well,
yeah. We cook thighs. We always have. We tried legs a few times, but didn't work for us. So just go back to what we know. So thighs.
Okay. Matt?
Sarah?
Thighs. And the team that gets 180 every time they cook in chicken, what do y'all get? What are y'all cooking?
Wings.
Liar.
No, we cook legs.
Cook legs. So we got a variety here. And like I said, guys, if you don't know, these three are three of the best chicken cooks in the country. Go and look at the points. They're all three killing it in chicken. We just lost Matt. He's done. So too many secrets being told here at Chewin the BBQ Fat for the Walker family. Robert, what do you do to get bite through skin on those thighs or legs? You probably have more to do with it than he does.
Ancient Chinese secret.
Liar. Do you scrape?
No, we do not scrape. No, we did that when we first started, and it was disgusting and horrible. So we didn't do it again. We went to a corn-fed cooking class up in Northern Iowa in January. It was wonderful. The class was really good. The weather was not. But we went up there and they taught us how to cook chicken without scraping the skin. And we've been pretty much doing that method ever since.
Yeah, that was back in 2012.
Yeah.
Man. So
yeah, we don't jacquard. We don't even take the skin off the chicken. But I guess that you might talk that later. But
we'll talk about that process. We'll talk about process.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You didn't read the agenda that I sent out.
I'm going off agenda. Sorry.
Yeah. You know, I'm very clear about my agendas. Matt and Sarah, do y'all scrape skins? Yes. So we have a non-scraper and a scraper. Okay, great. And you try to get all the fat off, or do you leave a little bit of the fat on the skin?
Just
That's pretty transparent.
You don't have to answer if you don't want to.
I mean,
transparent.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's good. And then you leg cookers, what are you doing to get bite through skin? Because I don't know. I've never cooked legs. Can you scrape skins on legs?
We're kind of in between the two. So I do scrape just a little bit, but I don't scrape it all off. There's a part, where the leg touches the thigh where the two connect. And right at that connection right there, you'll get a lot thicker fat right around the outside edge of the meat, the skin. And I'll just nick that off a little bit and then leave the rest of the fat on the skin. Okay.
Good to hear. I don't know anything about the leg process, so I'm going to be dependent on y'all to talk legs. You can tell whatever you want to. Yeah. All right. So I think this is amazing. This is why I love this show, because I've got Robert and Lex, who Robert doesn't even take the skin off. Matt and Sarah are trimming I'm assuming you're pulling the skins off, or at least pulling them back and scraping the skins. How does that affect? Well, let me just ask this question now. Well, Robert's already said you don't jacquard, you don't do anything else. But what process are you doing? Are you injecting? Are you brining or anything like that?
All the above.
All the oh,
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
okay.
And let me go
Another
back.
great question.
Let me go back to the scraping the skin. We don't scrape skin is because of the type of chicken we use. It depends really on what type of chicken you're using. We cook Springer Mountain, and there's barely any fat under the skin, so that's why we don't scrape. If we used a fattier chicken, we probably would be scraping.
There you go.
I'll leave it at that before I get in trouble.
So I'm assuming by what you're saying of that is you would like to see a little bit of pink through the skin as you're looking for it in the package.
Yep, that's correct.
Okay, so I wasn't going to ask the question, but since Robert went ahead and threw it out there, what kind of chicken are y'all cooking?
I'm cooking
Paul?
Wagyu chicken.
Wagyu, I heard that's really good.
Is that Compart? Is that Compart chicken?
We need to get a hold of Jim.
He needs to start doing chicken
Yes.
Yes.
He's on here. He's on here watching. He said y'all don't need to worry about chicken as long as your pork scores are good. So,
I like it.
We need all four.
Paul and Lynn, what are you looking for? What kind of chicken are you looking for?
We've cooked a couple different brands, but really it's a lot like Robert. I'm just looking for the skin to be white and to be able to see a little bit of the pink through it. Outside of that, I think it's more important just to stick with the same brand and you'll adjust to it.
The
Very
cheap
good.
one.
Yeah, sometimes it's the cheapest chicken I can get. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing about chicken. It's relatively cheap.
I'm paying for it. I'm gonna get the cheapest I can find. He gets so mad at me.
All right, so the next question is, and we're going to move on. I don't want to get into too much, but when you're looking for chicken, how do you pick a pack of chicken? So I mean, I guess y'all are probably all are sponsored, but somebody like me that has to go to the store and buy chicken, what are you looking for when you're going to the store to get chicken? Matt, I'll let you start. Sarah, whoever shops.
We just buy a whole box.
Yeah, we just buy a case.
Yeah.
And then as you're digging through there, you're just looking for the right size and everything else.
I mean, I just start off with the biggest in the package. There's usually there's a so, and then just pick those out and then go from there and shape them down.
Okay, good.
They get thrown away or they get the ones get as dog food.
All right, and I'm not. Y'all you don't tell ounces or any of that jazz. Just talk about like what roughly what you're looking for. Robert, what are you looking for when you are pulling chicken out of the freezer?
Actually, we're the same.
Okay.
I mean, we get the Springer Mountain delivered, so we get at least 6 packs. So we only 16s. We have choices, so we use like the big size we can get, like Matt said, so that way we can shape it down to what we really want.
Yeah, if we have to go out to a store and we don't for some reason have chicken on hand, we'll go out and look for 4 packs of thighs, 2 pounds or above.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's what we'll be looking for.
Okay, look, we're getting information that I didn't even ask for. This is awesome here on Chewin the BBQ Fat tonight. And remember, go like the Atlanta Barbecue Store YouTube page, subscribe to it, I guess is what it's called, and you might be in the running for a gift card. And if you add silly barbecue life, whatever. But anyway, Paul and Lynn, what are you looking for in chicken?
So I have a cheat sheet, and there's a certain ounce, because I'm the one who gets the chicken, and there's a certain ounce that he's looking for, and so I stand there at the grocery store counter with everybody staring at my cheat sheet. If there's 5 legs in this pack, it needs to weigh this, and I'm back there counting going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have to know, and so I have the whole list. If there's 5 in the pack, 6 in the pack, if there's 15 in the pack, it better weigh this amount. So, and then we get lucky if we might get 4 or 5.
Yeah, I mean that's your tip right there. All 3 of us are doing the exact same thing. It's all about size, and the ones you're taking with you are all going to be pretty close to the same size.
Right. All right, so let me back up. We've got some questions in here. Blaine Hunter, going back to the scraping or not, Blaine Hunter says, does the temperature and the smoker make a difference in scraping or not? He obviously knows that answer because he said maybe. But I would like for somebody to weigh in.
Sis Porky Buns?
Yeah.
World champion, team of the year. He's
American
asking.
Royal winner?
That's about right. He should probably be sitting here talking about this instead of us. But
You tell
okay,
us, Blaine.
you tell us, Blaine.
What's your temperature that you poked?
Yeah, Blaine. So since you're on here, go ahead and give that answer.
Yeah.
But can anybody does temperature matter to y'all when it comes? Are you trying to cook hotter with chicken? Are you trying to cook lower and slower in chicken? Does that matter to you?
You don't want to get too hot because you don't want to pop your skins.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Now
pretty important cooking legs that you control your temp. You can only push legs so far before you start blowing the tendons out, and then your appearance is pretty crappy. So.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
that's something that we don't necessarily have to worry about for the thigh cooks is the tendons. That's something you leg cooks are really concerned about, right? Is that how you tell when something's done? Is those tendons popping?
Yeah, if you see one pop, you better take the pan out because the rest of them are right behind it.
All right. Very good. Okay, another question is, it's apparently Robert raises his own chickens in the garage. What injection is Robert and Lex using in chicken? Blaine Hunter injects with Fireball.
Yeah.
Do y'all weigh each piece?
I like it.
And Gordon McCrae said that's barbecue royalty right there, especially that Rooters and Tooters. Yep, that's true. And then here's a question that Paul has said. Bob, somebody. Temperature done at 190 to 210. Do y'all temp your chicken? And don't tell me a number. Don't tell me a number. I'm not asking for numbers. But are you looking
I mean,
for
he is asking for a number.
I am, but if you just happen to get it, that'd be awesome. You don't have to though. But are you
bring your own beer?
I think so. We temp. It just never reaches the temp we're going for before turn in.
Yeah.
I'm serious. At 12
It never-
o'clock, he's
yeah.
temping, and he's like, "It ain't there yet. It ain't there yet." And I'm like, "You ain't gonna make it."
You don't. I mean, we don't have to really. It's pretty much done, but I just temp just for my own sanity, so I have a little bit of assurance. Not that I could do much about it that late in the game, but now we don't temp until pretty much we're ready to take them off and just to check, just to make sure.
So, well, let me ask the other two. Matt and Sarah, do y'all temp?
Yes.
Yes. Robert and Lex?
Nope.
No, we don't.
Y'all are just a temperature. I mean, y'all have a time frame, correct?
Well,
Yes.
we're always cooking at the exact same temp, exact same time. So we don't usually have to temp because back in the day when we got this whole time frame down in that Weber Smoky Mountain, that's what we always went by. So I'm guessing it's above 200 somewhere, 205 somewhere in that range.
Okay. There you
We
go.
just make sure we're at the exact same temp for exact same time.
I think if I cooked more in like one region, like one place, I could get that down. But cooking all over the place, I temp because things change. So I wish I could do a time, but it just seems that the time is not always the same in different places. Well, that's just my opinion.
Now, are you talking
like
about
elevation?
atmospheric pressures?
Yeah, definitely. Like coming to Georgia, that's like so anyway.
All right, so let me ask a question then on that. If you're temping and you're either above, like Paul, you said yours never gets to where you want it to be at 12 o'clock or whatever you said. What can you do, or what can somebody else do to fix that process during the cook if your temperature is either, say you're like Matt and the elevation changes and you just overshot your temperature, or it's under? What can you do to fix that?
I saw Donnie Till this weekend. I saw he put his like a pan in the Jambo, like in the firebox.
So he was definitely 20 degrees under at least.
Okay. Now we're talking. We're learning.
You grill it.
You just throw it in the fire.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Better watch it.
Now, what could y'all do? Because Paul and Lynn, I mean, I guess you could drop down on the hottest part of your cooker. Or, I mean, do you even worry about that?
Yeah, I mean, you either have to cook it longer or push the temp higher. I mean, that's the only thing I think you could do. And with legs, I can't really push the temp too high, like I said, or they'll break on me. So I don't know. I think my thermopan is not calibrated correctly. That's what it is.
There you go. All right, good. Okay. We talked. So we're getting, y'all keep asking questions. I'm going to move right along if there's no questions. Does everybody cook chicken in a pan? Yes. Where is Floyd is the question.
Where is Floyd?
He's outside.
Yeah.
With the
He's
other
outside.
person. Yeah, he's
Sorry,
outside.
Dan. He is outside right
He
now.
is being a dog today. Oh.
He's being a dog.
I mean, you heard it here. Who knows? This is crazy. Awesome. Somebody's asking butter bath. Butter bath for legs. I guess so. I don't know. I cook in a pan. River Dog is on our YouTube channel. He says he's an amateur backyard cook. What's too high of a temperature for chicken? So I think Paul, you were just saying that you don't want to go too high because it'll blow out. What would you say is a too high of a temperature on those for chicken to cook?
Well, I mean, it just depends on how long you're leaving them on there. I mean, I know people that do cook them hotter, but they don't leave them on half the time that I do. So I prefer to let mine sit on a little longer than others. But I do know a team that cooks them really good chicken legs, and they're cooking, at 300 degrees. But I couldn't do that. There's no way I would blow them all out. So I think once you hit 275, you're pushing your luck. Over 275, 290, you're starting to push it.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have anything to say about that?
Was the question was how high of heat can you cook chicken, or how far can you take the chicken?
Well, I don't know. It's a good question. It says, what's too high on temp?
Oh,
I don't know.
I don't legs.
On cooking temp or
Yeah, I was assuming cooking
finishing temp?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know that answer. That's a great question.
I would say over 300 would be too high.
Okay.
Yeah.
Smoker temp. He said smoker temp.
Okay.
So-
I mean,
I would say over 300. You're pushing it if you're at 300.
I'm rolling
Yeah.
at 300.
Yeah. But you don't go over 300.
I go over
For that
300.
day.
All right. Robert and Lex, what do you think about these? Y'all are just sitting up there.
I don't know. I've heard of people cooking pretty hot.
Yeah.
We cook about 275 all the time. So I don't know. I guess it depends on what chicken you have and what you're trying to do with it.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't even think I should ask this question from Blaine because he didn't answer. He didn't answer our other question, but I'll ask
Right.
anyway. Has anybody cooked? Donald Cook says he rolls at 400 on chicken. There you go. 425. No more in your line. Have any of y'all ever cooked white meat? He asked for breast, but I know, Paul, you jokingly said you cook wings. I know there are teams that do put in wings. Do what?
Was I joking?
Nope. Do y'all ever cook white meat, or do you always just turn in 6 thighs or whatever, or 6 legs?
White meat's only cooked at the jack.
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. Janet wants to thank everybody for coming to Smoke on the Falls. Thank you for putting on that awesome contest. All right, so finishing temp, we're not going to get into that. That's something you're going to figure out when you practice. All right, so let's talk. How important is injection or brining to not having dry chicken when you're done? Paul?
I think it's preference. We've done brining and we've done injection, but I don't really think you have to do either one and still get moist chicken. I think when you're brining or injecting it, I think you're really just adding a little flavor into the meat. I don't think it's for moisture because chicken itself, it has a good bit of moisture in it. So but from a moisture perspective, I don't think you have to do either one.
Okay, good. Do you do either one?
I do.
Okay, good.
I agree with Paul. It's for us, it's flavor. I mean, we never used to inject or anything, but we found flavor that really gets in that meat and it makes it taste good. So that's why we do both.
Matt, Sarah?
Same. But
Okay.
I think you could dry it off if you weren't butter bathing. I mean, I think that like if you were just putting it on the pit or something like, I mean, I don't know who was asking the question, but I think that there's a process there. I think you could definitely dry out chicken if you're just throwing it on the pit, or I don't know. So I think an injection would help with moisture. It just depends on how you're cooking it.
Extra insurance, right?
Right.
Exactly.
There you go.
Awesome. Y'all are the best. Just so y'all know, Land Barbecue Store sponsor teams, the best teams in the country. But moving on, Sean, speaking of another, Sean said somebody cooks white meat. He had some phenomenal white meat when he was judging. I don't know where he was. So there you go. So somebody is turning in white meat at contest. I don't know where Sean, I don't know where you were judging this week. But anyway, let us know. All right. So
I would love to turn in white meat. I think that the gamble there is
Big.
unbelievable, and like I'm having trouble anyway. So I mean,
Six, I'm not giving you choices.
yeah.
Six
So,
guys, no
I think-
choices right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not when I'm getting cards saying it's too smoky.
Yeah.
That's right.
the gamble's real. All right. So we've got everything else covered, y'all. Y'all keep asking questions away. Rock and rolling here. So we've talked processing. We'll go quick. Robert says he doesn't pull off his skins. Paul does. Matt does. They scrape. They don't. Anything other, trying to get uniform. So we've got all that covered. We've got the butter bath covered. If y'all listened, you've heard about butter bath. And so that's good to know. I think that's important. Or chicken stock or some kind of liquid that you're cooking it. So cook times covered, uncovered would be the next question that would be asked. Robert? I know you love my questions.
We don't cover. So we're uncovered the whole time, but we flip. So we go skin down to start and then flip it over.
Okay. So we have a no cover and a flip.
Yeah.
All right. Paul?
We do not cover.
No covering. All right. And Matt and Sarah?
We cover.
We cover. Here we go. And it's happening.
But maybe that's what we're doing wrong. So
Yeah,
Get your notepad out, Matt.
cover. Thank you, Atlanta Barbecue Store.
I feel like we're on the Newlywed Show and we should all be answering and seeing if we match.
That's right.
We should.
Everybody write it down.
I think you'd be losing money right now, huh?
Oh, man. I'll tell you what, the prizes are going to be awesome at the end of the show. Y'all just got to stay and wait to see the prizes. How many pieces in a box? I heard Sarah say she's just going to give 6. Paul, how many pieces are you looking for?
6.
6.
And I'd be happy only cooking 7.
Look at you. That's confidence right there.
Yes.
When you get 180s every time you cook, that's what you can say. You know, why would I cook more than 6? I mean, right? Am I wrong in that statement that y'all had 3 180s in the last 5 contests?
Yeah.
I'm wrong or I'm correct?
No, you're right. You're right.
Okay. All right, just check.
I don't know how, but we do. Yeah.
That one in Warsaw was a big one because up north they do not give 180s, and it was the one that they went, ooh. And then they called her name, and it was like, whoa. Is that us?
That's us. Rob Bauer, he's a good friend of mine and Robert's. He's Backyard Barbecue Heroes. He says, I have great tips from Robert and Lex about chicken. Step my chicken game up tremendously. Thank you both. What is it? What was it, Robert?
I hope you're asking him. Don't say anything, Rob.
Anyway, too funny. All right, so let's move on. I think we've hit everything except for sauce. Saucing chicken, right? So what is your thoughts on saucing chicken? Do you set the sauce? Do you just dunk it and go straight in the box? Does it even matter what you do on that at that point in time? Matt, I'll start with you this time. Matt and Sarah.
We just dunk it.
Okay, so no setting the sauce.
Yeah, we set
Yes,
sauce.
it's sauce.
Yeah.
We dunk it and then
Okay,
stick it.
all right.
Yeah.
Robert.
Yeah, we dunk it and put it back on the cooker for like 5 to 10 minutes. I think that's where we get most of our smoke right there at that point. Or
So how are you getting
lunch, I
smoke
guess,
on?
in some
How are
cases.
what are you doing to get smoke on it in that 5 minutes?
I always put I put a little bit of chips on, but you just got to be careful. So what?
Lex, we're here on Chewin the BBQ Fat. We're supposed to be talking about chicken and helping
We are
our.
talking about chicken.
All right, so we won't get into what kind
You
of
get your
chips.
nudge.
Paul and Lynn, what is y'all's thoughts on that?
It's the same. The same as Matt and Robert Lexon.
So they do 5 to 10 minutes. We don't know how long Boomerang does. But so you're saying 5, 10 minutes? Anything more than that?
Yeah.
So to me, and I'm probably wrong, but I'm going to throw something up. If you do any longer than that, do you have a chance of drying out the chicken?
No, I don't think you have a chance of drying it out so much. But the sauce it can get too tacky where it starts getting matte looking.
Okay.
But I think you're starting to darken it, and you can risk getting too much smoke on it at that point.
Okay. Too much smoke.
You can also char the bottom.
There you go.
Yeah, and you can also dry out that skin to where it becomes leathery, and it is definitely not bite through. It's like armor. It gets
I
real.
hope everybody's listening. Guys, this is what y'all need to be listening to right here. Okay. All right, good. So questions are, how many rubs do you use on chicken? From Michael Harmon.
More than one.
Okay. I'm not asking what they are. He's not asking. He said how many, so we don't have to go that far.
Between 1 and 5.
Okay, 1 and 5. Nice. Now, does that include finishing rub also, or is that just pre?
Well, it's all. No.
Okay. So you're using the same rubs in your finisher. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
All right, Paul, Lynn.
We use a couple under the skin and then one on top.
Okay. Matt and Sarah.
3.
3. So everybody's using multiple rubs. There you go. That you can get at the Atlanta barbecue store, I'm sure. But anyway, all right. So how important is finishing rubs? I know, Robert, when we went back to a recap of pork, you said that last 5 minutes are important. Can you say the same thing about chicken?
Yeah, I say that about all categories. That last 10 minutes or right before you put it in the box, that's the most crucial time.
All right. Awesome. Don't tell us what you're doing. That's cool. Matt and Sarah, what do you think about that last 5 minutes of after it's come off the smoker, you're looking to find out what 6 pieces are going in the box? Is there something that just sticks out to you that says, I want to go in the box?
We're just looking for more what looks like it's like a puzzle piece. We just put them all out there and start looking for what jobs together, which way you turn them to put them in there just for an appearance score. So that's basically it. We're just looking at all of them to see, because they always cook different. Some blow up, some get wide. So you're just kind of trying to please the judges the best you can at that point.
And I'm going to speak for everybody. Y'all make chicken look so good, right? You make these perfect little pillows. I try to make perfect little pillows, and they come out like they've been slept on all night, and they're just disasters. What are y'all doing to make your chicken come out and look so good at the end of the process? Paul?
Well, we cook legs, so it's a little bit different. for me, however they look going into the pan, that's how they're going to look basically coming out. So mine don't really expand like thighs. Legs don't really do that. They can shrink a little bit, but for the most part, shape wise, however it looks going in, that's kind of the way it comes out.
All right.
So we're kind of lucky on that part. We don't have to. I've cooked thighs and practiced a little bit during the winter with thighs, thinking maybe I want to go cook thighs. But yeah, I can see why you have to cook more thighs because they do tend to spread out some or just kind of do their own thing.
So that does happen to you too. Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, what do you think? Sarah, who chooses the chicken, Matt or Sarah?
There's a lot in the trim. I mean, when you're trimming, just you got to square them up and try to get all the little, and there's always the little pieces that are just like kind of wanting to come out, and just got to square it up really well. And when you put it in the pan, they should come out right.
You have some that are wonky. That's why we sit there and we choose which ones that are more uniform to each other.
Okay. Do y'all, Robert and Lex, who chooses the chicken, Robert or Lex?
Well, I guess
He
we both
does,
do.
yeah, he does an initial, and if there's something I don't like, I'll tell him I don't like that one.
Yep.
And I'll push it out of the way.
Yeah, and we're trimming multiple times. Like when we take it out
Yeah.
before we sauce it, we're still trimming little bits off.
Yeah.
And we'll even do it before it goes right in the box if it needs it. One of the things that we encounter without scraping is because sort of chicken has that thin layer of skin between or on either side of the fat layer, we get sort of bubbles in there every once in a while. But usually if we pop those and we just redunk it in sauce and it's fine. But yeah.
Very nice. So I think we've hit everything. So basically you trim multiple times. Dave Butler, I use mini pans. So I'm not sure about the other ones. I do. That should be a good answer because that means somebody does. So I do. All right. So David and Blaine have a good thing going. All right. So that pretty much wraps up chicken. Anybody else has any chicken? Feel free to make a comment, and I'm sure they will go through and answer afterwards. We're going to move on to probably people either are great chicken cooks or they struggle. To me, I can go through phases where I can cook chicken okay, and then I can't cook chicken to save my life. But brisket has always been the category that, it's the category that keeps backyard teams cooking backyard forever because they're afraid to go make the jump and cook a brisket. It's the one that costs a lot of money. And then brisket is the scary meat, I would say, for barbecue competitions. Would y'all agree with that, or is that just me making up stuff?
I love
You're making it up.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I think they're all scary.
Yes.
Once you get into it, I agree. David, we're moving on past chicken. I would love to answer that. The aluminum pan versus muffin pans, but I'm sure somebody will come on there and answer that question later. Let's talk brisket because brisket is fun. Thank you, Tom. You agreed with me about the briskets. I don't look like an idiot now. All right. So, Matt, you're from Texas. Matt and Sarah, Boomerang BBQ from Texas. Brisket is king in Texas, correct?
Yes. Beef is king. Yep.
Beef is king. What was your thoughts on? Oh, I'm sorry, David. You're not too slow. I'm just moving on. We've gone a long time. What are your thoughts on brisket when you first got into brisket? Was it something that was scary to you, or did you just jump in and go for it?
I just started cooking them, but I was definitely pulling them early. They were pretty tough to begin with, and I've cooked a lot of briskets, so
We've eaten a lot of brisket.
yeah, it took a while. I used to throw mesquite on there and all kinds of stuff. So, but I cooked a lot of briskets before we even started comping. That was what I wanted to master, and I don't know, but I love cooking brisket. It's fun for me. I like nailing one. So
What does it mean to nail a brisket? Now, this is at the end of the day. This should be my last question, but I'm going to ask you now because you just said it. When you say you like nailing a brisket, what does that mean? What are you looking for on a perfect brisket?
I mean, it's just the pull and then the bite. I mean, when they're good, the first thing I do is do the process, and then I just hand it to Sarah. And I mean, if they're right, it's just butter, and it's to another point. I have been nailing briskets for like the last 12 comps, and I can't get anything to hit. So
It was so good. On Sunday, he like went like this to me, and I always chop the piece up and taste it, and, kind of tell him what it means, they finish it. And, it was amazing. I mean, it was one of the best briskets, we cooked in a long time. It was nice and, had the right texture to it. It was juicy. It still retained its juiciness, and it was money.
That's what I'm talking about. One of these days. All right. I'll be able to cook a good brisket. All right. So let's talk brisket. Robert and Lex. Choice, prime, Wagyu. Does it matter?
We cook Wagyu.
We do.
Like most everyone. We try to start with the best piece of meat we can start with, like any of the categories. For beef, it's always Wagyu for us. It's either A9 or Snake River, one of the two.
Yeah, and we have cooked prime and Wagyu at comps before, and I'll always pick the Wagyu to put in the box. Always.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
I know that was a long time ago, but that's when we started just going full time to Wagyu because we wanted to see what was better. But I mean, there's contests out there where people win with primes, and we've known a couple to win with choices too. So I mean, it's all about the judges, but we cook Wagyu.
Paul? Lynn?
Same.
Matt? Sarah?
we cook A9s from the butcher shop.
Home of the A9.
Yeah,
Captain Green, the butcher shop.
um
So Wagyu.
so been cooking those for
2 years.
probably 2 years, and love the results. Love as just great briskets. A lot of the only downside I see to that brisket is the trying to get burn ends out of them. They are so marbled that's a hard process there for me personally, and I fall in love.
Let's hold off on burn ends, and we'll get back to
Okay.
burn ends in a second. That's a whole good topic
You
for
asked-
us to talk.
You asked about brisket.
I know. Look at me. I gotta sit. If I would have set out an agenda like Robert made me try to get me to do, we'd be okay. But my agenda's stuck in the mail somewhere. All right, so we got that figured out. Next question: separate? Do you separate a brisket or do you keep it whole? Matt, does it matter?
Well, I go back and forth on that. Sometimes I don't want to cook the burn ends, so I more or less cook a Texas style trim with a lot of it on there. I mean, I trim it down, but so I've been going back and forth on that, and mainly that's to keep me from putting burn ends in the box. So either way, I like it either way. I think you can cook them either way. Used to just always trim them down to the flat and the point, but been going back and forth on that lately.
I'm just a Georgia boy that doesn't know anything about beef. What exactly is a Texas trim on brisket?
It's more, you keep the point on there, but then you just kind of round off the flat. I mean I'm sorry, you keep the flat on there, and then you just kind of round off the point and leave more under it. So just have I guess more of a guard and stuff or whatever.
Okay.
I meant like a Texas, like in IBCA you can't turn in burn in, so they have there's like a Texas IBCA trim that you see on Facebook and stuff. So it's just straight down, but it's pretty cool trim.
So is that when they slice the brisket and they always squeeze it with that fat in the middle, so the fat?
It's not that that much of point and flat separate. I mean, they still trim the bottom, so that's more of a restaurant style. But anyway,
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. I'm learning here on Chewin the BBQ Fat tonight. Robert, do you do the Texas style or do you do something different?
No, but I'm gonna look that up on YouTube after we're done here. When we cook low and slow, when we
While you're
started
there, will you
whoever.
subscribe to my channel?
Go ahead. What's that?
While you're there on YouTube, will you subscribe to the channel?
No.
I think I'm already subscribed, but I need to unsubscribe and subscribe so I have a chance. No, but when we started out, we were cooking on Weber Smoky Mountains, and we started out low and slow. So we were only cooking 225, 230, and I wouldn't separate. I would keep them together. But we cook hot and fast now. My brisket doesn't go on until 5 a.m. So in order to get it done in time, I have to separate it.
Okay. Paul?
Yeah, we separate.
Okay. I separate because there's an incredible team that once taught me to separate and showed me in Demopolis, Alabama, 2 or 3 years ago, showed me how to trim a brisket and explained to me why I should separate a brisket. And they're actually on here tonight. So it was really one of the coolest things that ever happened was learning about trimming briskets. But anyway, we'll move on. So Robert, when you are on YouTube, look up Andy Lugo brisket trim for an IBCA trim.
Yeah. So it would be a more aggressive trim than Andy's. So like but that is the trim, but like it's just you leave more on the yeah, that's pretty much the trim. I'm just leaving a little more. I'm just not worried about the point that's coming up under there as much. So anyway, it's just something I've been jacking with. So
nice.
Anyway.
Thank you. That's all. This is what we're here, guys. We're here learning. I mean, Robert is taking notes about what Matt's doing. Paul and Lynn, they've got a book going down over there. And then Matt's got his notebook going out also. So
hey,
if
we're cooking legs next time we go out. So we figured all of this out, uncovered.
Hey, if you stay on, if y'all stay on
legs, cheap legs, cheap as you can find.
Hey, this is the best show tonight because Matt's giving all the secrets and he's wearing an orange shirt.
Yeah.
Smoke me silly orange, right? All right. Let's see. Do you feel brisket tenderness tightens up from when box closes to when judged? Does that factor into finished tendernesses? And we're going to talk, Justin Leonard, I'm going to assume we're going to talk KCBS tenderness instead of any other sanctioning body, right? So let's just stick with KCBS. Because I know IBCA is a completely different ballgame when it comes to tenderness. Paul, what do you think about brisket? Does it tighten up on you when you close the box?
You know, the box might be pushing a little bit. You know, if you've ever tried your brisket, you know, the next day or something, yeah, it might be a little tighter. But the time it sliced and goes in, because we're pretty much slicing straight to the box and straight to turning in. We don't hold it or anything. So, you know, that 5 or 10 minutes that it's sitting in the box, I could be wrong, but I don't see it tightening up that much.
Right.
No, it plays with his emotions while it's cooking. That's the one meat that he will second guess 500 times. I'm surprised that there's any brisket left for all the holes. I don't know, baby. It's good there, but not right here. Let's put it back on. I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna pull it.
It is the one meat that I don't know how it's really going to turn out until I cut it. And I'm actually nervous every time I cut a brisket because I only cook one. For the most part, I only cook one. So if I screwed it up, then you know there's not much you can do about it when it hits the cutting board. It's not very forgiving at that point.
Okay, good. And is there anything you can do if it's tight or if it's loose when you cut it on the cutting board?
Yeah, I mean,
Robert, I'll ask Robert. Robert, if you're cut, I'll help you out, Paul. Robert, is there anything you can do if you cut when you're cutting and slicing a brisket? If you notice it's overcooked or undercooked, is there anything you will do to fix that? Or is it never for you is it never wrong. It's always perfect.
See, that's what I was going to do. I was going to say, I'll take this baby. It's always great.
Yeah.
I knew that. I knew that.
I think what you're trying to get at, if it's overcooked, you might want to slice it a little thicker.
Yeah.
And if it's under, you're going to cook it or slice a little thinner, and that's might help you out.
Okay.
Now, if the judges are doing it the way they're supposed to, the only way they gauge tenderness is putting it in their mouth and chewing it. At least that's what they're only supposed to be doing. They're not supposed to use the pull test or drape it over your finger or anything like that. But I'm sure there are some still doing that.
Matt and Sarah, what are your thoughts?
I mean, how you slice it. I mean, I think if you're
So you're
worried
not
about,
looking to put it in au jus and throw it back on the smoker.
I mean,
try and let
if you're worried about it, you could slice it during ribs and look at it. If it's under, you could throw it back in the coals. I mean, you can get it tender. There's always ways to get it tender. So like, if that's something that is on your mind, I guess you could do that. I've heard of people doing that. So
Very nice. The questions are coming in. All right, let me ask. All right, hold on one second, everybody. Matt, Blaine Hunter,
mm.
sauce or no sauce on brisket?
What is it?
Sauce or no sauce on brisket?
I like sauce on brisket.
Okay. Janet, next time Robert is in town at Gadsden, I promise you he'll let you try some of his brisket. She's never had brisket, Robert. Richard Crow, cook brisket whole once the flat is done, separate and place the point back on the smoker. There you go. That's always a thing to do. Tim Malloy, if you think it's done, go another 15 minutes. There you go. Robert shaking his head. Matt shaking his head. Paul and Leonard just taking notes. All right. Holy Blaine Hunter, do you guys age your briskets?
It's a good one.
Do you
Blaine?
Age.
Now, so on that, I know Snake Rivers, I believe, are 28. They're already aged a little bit, and I'm not sure about A9s if they come in aged or not. Maybe it's the other way around.
I mean, the A9s have to come over on a ship, right, from Australia, so they have to have some kind of age on them. So I would say they have a few days on them.
I mean, I don't think they're in like rigor mortis or anything.
Good. Does that matter? Does aging matter to y'all?
I mean, I want a good aged Wagyu. Who doesn't?
Okay. Robert? Paul?
There's been times because A9 isn't frozen when you get it, and we've kept it in the refrigerator for a few weeks or more, and it's been, I mean, has that sort of aged smell to it when you open it up, but it's still great tasting brisket.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's better.
I have cooked A9s and snakes. I cook Snake River now, and not for any other reason than they're easier for me to get right now. But I love them both. And I don't. Paul, Lynn, do y'all have anything you want to throw in here on this, or are you just sitting there taking notes?
Yeah, no. Well, we are taking a lot of notes, but for us, we can do either. I mean, if I thaw it out the week of, it's fine. But if I want to put it out early, I'll do it. It doesn't bother me one bit.
Okay. All right. Dave Morrow, do you cook it to a certain temp or feel? I always did temp. When I did feel, it always killed me. Good question. I'm a feel person. I go to temperature and then I start feeling from there. Matt, what do you do?
I feel I'm at the end there. I'm in that brisket quite a few times, to be honest.
A bunch of holes everywhere.
So there's a lot of holes in your brisket, like there is Paul and Lynn's.
Yeah. Well, I'll pull the lid up. But.
Nice. Robert?
Yeah, we don't take off brisket. We take it off by feel. There's a certain temp where I say, okay, it's time to start checking it, but it doesn't come off unless it feels right. And I think that's the biggest problem that a lot of cooks have. They're just starting out for brisket, is they're never taking it far enough. They're zoned in on that temp.
Yeah.
You know, they'll see a flat and it's like 2:15. They're like, oh my God, it's got to be done, when it really isn't. One of that practice video we did with Bee's Knees that I posted on our channel, that happened there. He thought 2:12. He said, it's got to be done. He said, Robert, check it. I was like, man, you got another half hour there. And he kept it for a half hour and he thought for sure he overcooked it. And he didn't. It was right on. But yeah, I think that's the biggest issue with a lot of people. They don't take it far enough.
Awesome. Good. Anybody else want to add anything to that? All right.
Well,
we'll move right on.
I think temp is so hard just because it's a direct relation to what your cooker temp is too. So while for me, I might say I start checking at one temp. If somebody who cooks a lot hotter, they may not start checking it until later on, just because of it's so relative to how your cooker is, what heat of your cooker is. So
Awesome. Man, it's coming in. It's coming in. But I got to ask a question. Hot and fast, low and slow.
Hot and fast.
For me, it's
Chris?
hot.
Hot and fast. Matt?
Yeah, we're hot and fast.
Lex?
Same.
Hot and fast.
Yep.
Whatever Matt does, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
He's hot and fast. I got to be hot and fast. That's right.
All right. That's right. All right. So, man, this is awesome. What size brisket are y'all cooking? Bigger the better?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Same for us.
20 plus.
Paul's not answering. I love that.
No, I think we're all the same. Yeah, to me,
Okay.
We
I
cook
What
just,
about
5
the
pounds,
pork
but it starts at 20.
yeah,
The
really.
roles have changed tonight. Last week, Robert was sitting there getting kicked, didn't say a word, and Paul was trying to get. Tonight, Paul is he is tight-lipped. I love this. Good stuff.
He just grand like last week. Like he doesn't. He's tight-lipped, man. He doesn't want to give it
No,
away.
he's not giving anything up.
Yeah, we're all
that's
taking
not-
notes. We're trying to get it back, and
All right.
they're
Man,
on.
this is Chewin the BBQ Fat here tonight. Not anything
Thanks
else.
for helping, Paul. Jeez.
All right.
Let's
So
get
Mark
slaps
Weatherall.
on here, and then let's get some stuff going.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get slaps on soon. All right. Mark Weatherall said, "Great pro tip from SMS at the GBC class last summer was to taste both sides of your brisket." I don't know why he said that, but that's a very interesting concept you got there, Robert. Boil in the pan slices. Can't do that. Please, brisket ain't done unless it jiggles like Jello. You know, I've
That's
never done
beef brisket.
Blaine says yes, he does. I don't know what he was talking about. Solutions for a dry brisket once you slice it.
Soak it in au jus. Soak it.
Soak it in au jus, yeah.
Soak it in au jus. Soak it in au jus. Robert, what do you think? Soak it in au jus. We got a lot. All right, so soak it in au jus. Are we doing the true au jus, or are we making our own au jus? What are we doing here?
Whatever's better.
Whatever's better. I like that. So you might make an au jus.
Whatever
Go
you
ahead,
like.
Mike.
Whichever one you
Yeah,
like.
anything you like. We don't have very long to make decisions, so we got it.
So there are some teams that might make an au jus and bring with them, and they check that compared to what the au jus coming out of your wrap. I'm assuming y'all wrap briskets. Get into that in a second. All right. Let's see. Anything else before that? So just use au jus. Man, this is crazy. Wet age is good. Do you cook? Why are we not going to that? Thoughts about fast fall? I don't know what that means. Bingo. All right. I always was told when it feels like peanut butter when you probe the brisket is when it's done. All right. Here's the peanut butter. I've never heard peanut butter.
Never tried
All right. Here's a good question. Pit Hustle Barbecue has asked. And I think and we're just like, this has been terrible. I apologize. This is my end. I'm just not doing a good job tonight. But anyway, rest time and holding process for a brisket. Are you trying to get it done? Like Robert last week was saying on ribs, you want ribs coming right off the smoker to be done. And Paul liked to hold his ribs. I think we discussed that last week, correct? No, Paul, you wanted to keep yours. I don't remember. Anyway, what is the
Me either.
it's a dumpster fire here. Matt, are you trying to hold your brisket, or do you want it to come off and go right into a box?
I like to hold it.
Hold it for approximately an hour or two or 30 minutes.
I mean, I can hold it for an hour.
Okay, all right. That's good. That's good. You stay there. Robert, Lex?
We don't like to hold it that long.
No, I mean, if my brisket's coming off at about 12:30, I'm good with that. And cooking, I don't know, cooking it hot and fast. We don't care to hold it that long. I mean, if it comes off early, then I'm like, oh crap. And because I remember a long time ago watching a show with Darren Worth saying if it comes off at 1 o'clock, he just sets it on the back of his tailgate there or his porch, and then he takes it in to slice it. And I'm like, maybe that works. I don't know. Some of the best briskets I've had, I've hardly had any rest time, so I don't think it matters.
Okay. Lynn, you have a look on your face like you're thinking here. What are your thoughts?
I just know that the longer it's on there, the slower our ribs and our chicken go, and he already pushes chicken to the limit. And so thank goodness for 11:11. But just saying.
Thank you, Lex.
You're welcome.
Usually stressful days is when the brisket and the butts are still on late, because there have been some that come off really early. We hold probably 90% of the time we hold.
We're holding. We're like Matt. We're probably an hour or so.
It doesn't seem like a long time.
My thought process on that is you're cooking really hot and fast. You want however you wrap, you want that to come down a little bit. And then I also don't like to slice when it's 210 or whatever. I mean, like I want it to be a little lower. I don't like it steaming when I'm slicing, but that's just my opinion.
I wonder why. That's good. I was just wondering why. You don't have to explain it. That's very interesting. I'm just on my end. Like, does that affect the tenderness? Does it, if it comes down to say 190 before you trim it, is it tightening up any? Or anyway, you don't have to get into that. It's a tip from a pro. What width do you trim the flat to before cooking? Are you trying to cook to the box, or you want it to be bigger and then trim it down at the end? Robert, Lex has a funny look on her face, so I'm gonna ask you.
I do not pre-trim to the box.
And you don't have a problem cutting off the edges? Okay.
No, I don't.
Paul?
No.
Lynn?
I don't have a problem docking the edges, but I normally try not to. It's just my goal is to not have to, but if it happens, it's not a big deal. I don't get all crazy concerned about it.
Tells me a lot about your cook.
But for us, I just try to trim the brisket up. You know, you've got a tighter meat and a looser meat on the Wagyu that I cook. So I try to get out as much of that looser brisket meat that I can. And so if it's 7 inches, great. If it's 8 inches, that's fine. As long as I try not to go below 6 inches wide in a raw state. That's kind of a narrow slice by the time it cooks. It doesn't leave you much room if you have to dock it, then it becomes even shorter. So 6 inches wide is my limit, as far as nothing less than 6 inches.
Okay. Matt, Sarah?
We trim for the box.
Okay. All right. This is awesome. Blaine Hunter wants y'all to start from the beginning of your brisket process, and Bill said please do. But we're not going to. So Alan Gayton has asked this question twice, and something I do is I get my au jus and I brush it on the slices. He says, do you use a thickener or some other trick in the au jus to get wetter look on the slices? What does the wetter look? I don't know what the wetter look you're looking for is, but Sarah is saying no.
I think what he means is shiny.
Shiny.
So I know that we've had issues where our brisket is very moist. It's got a lot of juice in there, but by the time it gets to the judges, sometimes it does look dry, and we'll get an 8 in appearance, and they'll say, it'll be an 8.99. It looked dry. We've gotten that a couple times, but
I'm all for 8.99s. You got
I
an
know,
8 in
right?
your pocket. You got an 8 in your pocket. Give it to me in appearance. I am okay with that.
That cost me a 180.
Yep.
Awesome. What temp is hot and fast? To me, that's a good question. When you're talking brisket, I know for me, I'm different than them. Every once in a while, I like to act like I'm important on this show. So I'm going to say something. I put my brisket up in the microwave, which I guess is roughly about 450 for an hour, and then I bring it down about 325. So that to me is hot and fast. Robert and Lex, what is your idea of hot and fast since y'all all cooked in hot and fast?
We used to start out around the 375 to 400. Lately, we've been just starting out around the 350 range, I would say.
Okay. Matt, Sarah?
We're just like 300.
So would you consider that? Would you consider 300 a hot and fast brisket?
I think if I'm starting putting it on at 6 and getting it done, yeah. So maybe
Pretty fast.
maybe 350 at the I don't know, the cans are they say 300, so I don't know what's going on inside. So
Okay. Paul, what are y'all smirking about over there?
We're disagreeing on temps because I'm going, but that's not what my notes say. I got notes that say 425, and he's like,
We don't know. We just put it on. No, to me, I think for us, 350, 375, that's what I would think is hot and fast. 300 is still hot too, especially if you're carrying it all the way through. For us, we don't carry that high temp all the way through the whole cook. So we'll start out pretty hot and start bringing it down throughout the cook.
Awesome. All right. So the question everybody wants to know about, all forked up for Q, just brought it up, and we will not take that much time on it, but it is the $64,000 question when it comes to brisket. Burn ends. Yes or no? Are you putting them in the box? Yes or no?
I'll let all forked up for Q. Are you putting them in the brisket
For
box?
real.
Because you're kicking Heine in brisket.
yeah.
All right. So all forked up. You tell us, are you putting it in the box? And then we'll answer it. I've heard of adding gelatin into the au jus. Anyone done that? I cannot see it. I haven't done that.
No.
Not that I know. We don't sell it at the Atlanta barbecue store, so it must not be used in barbecue. I'm sure.
We don't use
that sounds like getting towards gravy.
Okay, so let's go back to burn ends. Lynn says no.
I just, I've only had one really, really, really good burnt end, and that was at
It wasn't for me.
And Robert cooked.
I spit his out.
Was it from me?
I don't even like to look at them. I finally got
They're
him.
not that bad.
They're terrible. And so I finally just said, I would be perfectly happy not even taking the point to the contest, period. He cooks them for himself, and I'm like, don't unwrap it, because I know he's going to be put in the box. I don't want to put it in the box. Well, taste it. I don't know.
You put it in the box.
My dog don't even like it. So, bleh. It's the fat. It's disgusting.
Say that again, Sarah.
So we struggle with the same thing because Matt loves burn ends. I love burn ends. But to me, when I'm looking for an overall score, we were getting dinged, and we have a more consistent score with slices. And
It's either a 180 or a 167. So with burn in, so it's either like you pop the whole table or they are docking you. So like the gamble's not.
the gamble's not worth it for us at the end of the day when you're trying to have,
Right.
the average. And
Especially when you're struggling.
Yep.
Yeah, I think for us, prior to 2 years ago, we put burn ends in 99% of the time.
Yep.
same.
And then I don't know what it was. The brisket points seem to get fattier and fattier, which we like more marbling, but not necessarily in the point. But if you want it in the flat, guess what? You're going to get it in the point for sure. So we started to get a lot of mushy comments because it's so fatty. And once you break down that fat, that's what I guess it feels like to some judges. It tastes or it feels mushy. So yeah. So no burn ends for us, I think.
And just to go back, we asked, and All Forked Up for Q gave us an answer. He said, we did this week on Sunday, only put them in 4 times this year. So,
which I think is sad, because if I was a judge, I would want burn in. So like but they ding us up so much, we're scared to put them in. But like if I was judging, I'd be like, man, we want everything in there. But you consistently smash people's dreams by putting them in. People quit putting them in.
You know,
So
I'm
I have a
gonna
friend.
piss off the judges by saying this, but if you don't like fat, you shouldn't be judging.
Thank you.
Well, I feel.
Well, let's just hold off a
But, I
second.
mean, but back
judges on here.
when I started, like that was
the thing.
that was the I mean, and I don't know where that went wrong. Maybe it's the like you said, the fat and the briskets that we get, and everything stepped up that it's hard to cook them, but I still love them. I would love to throw them in the box.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
What I like to say, Matt, it's more for us.
Right.
Yeah.
More burn ends
Exactly.
for us.
You're right.
All right. So I had a friend cooking a contest not too long ago, and he got a comment card for brisket saying, I like the idea of the cubes of brisket in the box. Now, that tells me that that judge has no clue what a burn-in is. But-
Cubes.
But whatever. We're just going to move on from that.
I kind of appreciate that comment, because that helps me in life, what you just said.
Fat and that smoky chicken.
Oh my gosh.
How are you bringing up old stuff?
Oh, love it. All right. So anyway, that has been, I'm going to say that has been a fun contest, a fun good of information about brisket and chicken. Lynn, you look like you are dying to say something about this. So what would you have to say?
You misread that.
Okay. All right. Good. All forked up for Q are 183rd place plus 3 first place calls, no burn-ins. There you go.
He's I don't know if you
Dan's right.
he's Kansas cook, and he's a monster brisket cook this year, so congrats to him.
Yeah. Dan and Andrew's
Yeah.
been killing it.
And then you got Aaron Stouffer on the other hand said we have only one brisket when there are burn-ins in the box. So if that is not going right along with Boomerang conversation, man, this is getting good. That's right.
But
All right, so
at
Aaron
what
just said-
point? I mean, are you there just to win brisket? I love winning brisket, love it. But like, that's when you have to make decisions like that. Like, if I'm winning first place with them, but I'll take a 168, 178 without them, and that's a hard call.
We had to do a lot of motivating to not put burn-ins in the box, because it was a struggle, and he wanted them in all the time.
Right.
And I was like, well, we
Hey,
just need
Robert.
a consistent score.
That's awesome. Hey, Robert, do you remember when we started this show, Chewin the BBQ Fat, and one of the very first shows we had was talking about burn-ins?
Yeah, I do remember that.
And we had judges come on the show. Aaron Stouffer just said, let's talk judges with this group. So that would be a bait.
No, that's a big no.
Don't go down that hole.
Nope.
You're
No
poking
way.
out there.
Yeah.
Not going to happen here on Chewin the BBQ
Well,
Fat. here.
well, there is a team here that's, I mean, obviously loves the judges last weekend.
Yeah, Paul,
Yes.
yeah. And they were the two that are sitting there saying, like, what's wrong with the judges?
What's wrong with the judges? Judges great.
This has been so much fun. Guys, if you haven't learned anything tonight on Chewin the BBQ Fat, it's been an awesome night. It's been a lot of fun. Go back, tell everybody about this show, share it, whatever you need to do. Because this is gold. There's a lot of nuggets in here that you're going to learn from. And I'm telling you, this is 3 of the best cooks in the country, and me just being here talking to them. So this has been so much fun throughout this conversation. I love it. If you have any questions, real quick, can y'all give out a serious question? Anyway, let's see. Great show. Thank you, Blaine. I can't say that.
Wow.
All right, guys. So this has been a lot of fun. But Robert and Lex, if anybody wants to get in touch with you, what is there an easy way to get in touch with you all?
Facebook, get on our Facebook page. Also check out our YouTube channel, Silly Barbecue Life, and subscribe so we can keep ahead of Atlanta Barbecue Store. And I promise I'll post some videos again soon.
Paul and Lynn.
Yeah, the same. Yeah, I mean, normally you can message us on Facebook or Instagram or anything like that.
Awesome. Where is that at? You want to tell them?
What?
Facebook. What's your Facebook page? What's your Instagram? Did you say that? I missed that.
No, I think my Facebook page is actually under my name, Paul
Oh, it's
Kelly.
not Rooters. Okay, there's not a Rooters and Tooters.
Instagram is actually under our team name, I think.
Okay, so check them out, Rooters and Tooters on Instagram. And Matt and Sarah.
Ours is the same way as his, just under our Matthew Walker and Sarah Walker, and then Instagram is Boomerang BBQ.
Awesome. There you go, guys. Thank you so much. If y'all will stay on just a second, I want to talk to you for a second. But thank you, everybody, for a wonderful night on Chewin the BBQ Fat. Come back next week for another outstanding show, and we'll see what we can do next week. Y'all have a great week, and we will see you soon on Chewin the BBQ Fat. Remember, subscribe to the Atlanta Barbecue Store's YouTube page. Y'all have a good one.